I'm going to show you how to create a Google form in 2022, and this is going to be a complete tutorial if you are a beginner to this. So to get started, we want to be in our web browser, and we want to go to the website forms.google.com. Now, once we get to this website, it's actually going to pop up with a bunch of templates right here, as well as the ability to select blank, and that's going to create a blank form. Just looking at a quick look in the template gallery, you can see that there are a bunch of different forms already made for if you have a specific type of need for your form. However, if none of these templates fit what you're looking for exactly, what we can do is go ahead and just create a blank form by clicking the blank plus right here. Once we click that, we're going to be navigated to where we can essentially edit and create our form. If you are looking to get a little bit more information about a step-by-step process, even though we're going to go through it in the video, this tutorial will pop up through Google, and you can click the Take Tour button. But in this case, we're going to just go ahead and close out of this. Now, looking at the actual form, you can see that there are a few different options, and this might look intimidating, but we can go step by step to make sure that we get this exactly how we want it to be. So right here where it says entitled form, that's actually what the title of your form is going to be. So I'm just going to fill that out with form title. And now below that, we have form description. Here, you can put a description for your form. Now, this field is actually optional. You don't have to fill it out if you don't have a specific description, but it can be good to provide a little bit of insight for the purpose of your form if you need to. So now going below that, we can actually see where our questions actually begin for the Google form. So as you can see, automatically when we have a blank form, it's going to populate with one question where it says untitled question as well as option 1. So when you click untitled question, you can go ahead and change that to whatever type of question you want to ask. So let's say we just want to put our first question to what is your name? And as you can actually see, Google automatically, and at the bottom it actually says magically, updated the question type to short answer text. So it was a multiple choice question before, and Google actually automatically put it into short answer text. Now, if you want to go ahead and manually change that to a different type of question, you can go navigate to this box on the right side of this panel where it says short answer. You can click on that, and it gives you a variety of different types of questions that you can, or question formats that you can have. So let's leave it on short answer right here because this does seem like the most appropriate option. Now below that, we have a few more options right here. This button, if you click it, is going to go ahead and duplicate the question that we had before. So we can have essentially a duplicated question so we don't have to go ahead and create everything from scratch. I can go ahead and show you a use case for that, for example. So let's say I have this question as what is your first name? And I already have the text box and I have everything else already set up the way I want it. What I can do is just duplicate this question, and now I can just change this part to last name, and that way I don't have to go through the process of creating the question and then entering in a specific question type or anything of that sort. Now the button right next to it, you might have seen me use it before. It's the delete button. So we can just go ahead and click the delete button, and it takes the question that we didn't want away. At the bottom left, you'll see it pops up with a prompt with the button undo. You can go ahead and click that, for example, if you just wanted to undo the deletion. Now going back into the actual question, another option next to the delete button is required, and it has a toggle switch right next to it. And this toggle switch will essentially make sure that this question is required before someone can submit the form. So this type of question might be important for if, for example, you need to make sure that you know someone's name before they respond to the form. You can make sure that they go ahead and fill out that question. Otherwise, it won't let them submit the form, and it'll give them an error if they try to submit the form without it being required. Right next to that, now we have a few different answers here where it says response validation. And that is where we can essentially set up if we want a specific response to be given if someone enters in a specific thing or a specific answer into the form. And finally, this is description, where you can put in a description for the question if something of that sort is necessary. Now, let's say you have this one question and you want to create more questions. You can just go ahead and click the add question button right here, which is the plus symbol, and that will allow you to add in a different question. So for example, now let's use a different question type. So I want the question to be, are you subscribed to my channel? And we're going to leave this as a multiple choice question. And it actually suggests different options based off of the question. And we can either click add all, we can select maybe just the option we want. Or let's say I just want to click add all, and it will automatically go ahead and add in all of those different responses that it suggested to me. Now, one other thing is you can click this image button if you require possibly an image that is needed to be able to help answer that question. As well, you can do the same thing with each of these options. If you go over the question, it will say add image, and that will allow you to add images. In terms of other options we have, we can go ahead and click this button to import questions. For example, if you have questions written in a separate document that you want to import, you can go ahead and click that. Below that, we have the add title and description, and we did go through that before. And essentially, this is something that you can do if you want to have, for example, different sections within the form, and then you can use this section, title and description to go ahead and separate all the different titles and all the different sections within the actual form. We're going to delete that since we just want to make a basic form. Right here, like we had mentioned, you can also go ahead and add images. Here you can go ahead and add videos. For example, if a video is required for someone to watch before they can answer some of the questions, it would be very good that you can use this to add that in. And finally, we can use this button to go ahead and just separate sections and have different sections within the form. But again, we want to keep this as simple as possible. So let's say that we want just these two questions. So what we can do is go ahead and we're going to leave this as a required question. And you know what? We will leave this as a non-required question just so we can go ahead and see the difference. Now, let's say this form is complete and we want to go ahead and essentially start sharing the form to allow other people to respond to it. We can just click the send button. Upon clicking that, we can either email the form to different people. Now, let's say if it's easier for us to, for example, just get the link for the form, we can go ahead and click the paperclip right here and it will show us the link and we can just send the link to people and they can go ahead and find the form that way. I like to click the shorten URL because essentially if you see the link is extremely long, but if we click shorten URL, it will go ahead and make the link a lot shorter and that way it's easier for people to recognize. So we can go ahead and just copy the link and essentially if we can close out of this, open a new tab and paste the link, we can actually see that we see the form right here. So now what we can do is, for example, let's say, you know what, let's say I don't want to answer this question and I click out, it will say that this is a required question, but let's say we want to ignore that too. And we're going to say, are you subscribed to my channel? Obviously that's yes. So we're going to click submit without filling that out. And you see as many times as I click it, it will not let me submit the form without filling out this required question. So let's say I want to put that in finally, leave the other answer there. We can go ahead and click submit. We'll say your response has been recorded. We can go back into the form now, and you see right in this tab, we actually have one response, and that is from me. And we can go ahead and see that the form did work. Now, let's say, for example, we want to just go ahead and, for the sake of this video, go ahead and submit another response. We can say this time the name is Bill. Are you subscribed to my channel? Let's put maybe. We can click submit and go back to the results. Now we see actually that there's two responses. We have a few different views such as summary, question, and individual. Summary view essentially shows us everyone's response in one easily digestible page. Question view shows us the responses that we had for each different question. So this is, for example, question 1. We can go to question 2. So it shows us response by response. And then individual will show how each individual person filled out the entire form. And as you can see, we have 2 of those as well. So this was a basic introduction to how to create a Google form. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like down below. And if you have any other questions or anything you're unsure about, go ahead and leave a comment and I will get back to you down below.